Alright, we should be live now. Let me just check this thing to make sure. We're in pre-show rambling and other memes for another 10-ish minutes as we wait for everybody else to join in on here. I don't believe I heard from Turndo, so I don't know if we should expect Turndo to be here. It sounded like they were doing the reading, though, so I don't know. Welcome, Shadow.
Hi.
Shadow Pawn V4. Welcome.
Get the joke?
No, I understood. Why does it say I have 5 followers on Kick now? Who the fuck is watching us on Kick? Who are you? Who are you?
Okay, so Nyan, Ari, me, Parento.
I don't have a Kick. Shut the fuck up.
No, none of you have Kick accounts. I'm the only one that does.
Music with Kick.
I'm just like, okay, like choosing.
Actually,
like,
you know what?
Here.
I might have a Kick account.
Oh, damn.
Then don't
Listen,
use
That
it.
I just haven't used in years.
I'm pretty sure most of the followers on there are from those clearly bot accounts that go into the chat and say, hey, we should connect on Discord, haha, I love your content, like those kind of deals. And then when I ban them, I don't think it removes their unfollow, and they don't get removed later on. So I think it just leaves them like that. Anyway, sound alerts are temporarily on until we begin.
I need to find... I'm just putting this out there. Battler has a fucking eating disorder, okay? This man starves himself.
Listen.
I have not seen... Please, sir, eat something. Hey, Nate, what's up?
How's it going, Nate?
Man's forearms are like smaller than mine, and mine's literally just skin and bone.
Dude has no muscle mass.
He's just like me, for real, for real.
I was not expecting Rosa to not have blonde hair. I don't know why.
Again, I think I mentioned this a little bit last stream, too. I thought that, too. I was like, what do you mean she doesn't have blonde hair? I'm looking at this cover. She looks like she's a redhead. What are you talking about? What is this? Or like a brunette or some shit. What is this? What's going on with the colors?
Yeah. No, I agree.
It's what we call like creative liberties.
Like, her name is Rosa, so, like, I get it, kind of, like, going with more rose-colored hair, or, like, trying to go with more rose-colored hair, but it still caught me off guard. Like, oh, like, all of the other ones that have, like, white hair in the black and white version have blonde hair, but, Chief, go off, I guess.
Go off. Just go off.
Let him cook.
Let him cook.
Okay, we'll set that ping. You just got frickin' pinged. Oh my god. Did you feel it? Did you see it? Did you notice it?
No.
It happened.
I don't feel it.
That's too bad. You're getting the
Except
ping.
I've lost the
you
ability to
today,
feel.
and I am feeling fully numb. I hate every second of this.
We do a little pinging. Scary, I felt a ping on Discord.
It's also occurred to me that my New Year's resolution last year was finish beard color. I got like 5 months remaining, and I'm nowhere close.
Oh, no.
Luck. Good luck. You can do it. I still have to figure out the fucking Finding Cinderella thing. I don't know what you're supposed to do for the secret meme.
Where's this?
Here's where I get. Here's where I don't know. I don't know if the secret meme for Finding Cinderella is just going to turn out to be like something that we've already done. Like, oh, you can see that Gwen rejects you or something like that, and that's a secret ending. Like, I don't know if that counts. I don't know if that counts. Also, welcome, Ari. Okay, where is... Oh my god, Beatrice is here. Where is the thumbnail? Here it is. Boom, boom. Okay, and post. Oh wait, no, I linked the wrong thing on the Blue Sky post. We need to undo that. How am I?
The hell did you link?
I linked the Twitch instead of the YouTube. Usually I link the YouTube video. Because that's where the VODs are going to live afterwards. Where did I put the YouTube link? What time is it now? All right, we got 5 minutes before we officially start. What other memes we got here before we begin? We got any other memes, concerns, questions? Amazing.
Yeah, no, not really.
I already said what my single concern.
Was what?
Huh?
I already said my concern before.
Laughing?
What? I don't understand what the meme is. I don't understand what we're trying to say. What is going on? Just say it.
Ah! I want ice cream.
Don't make me show the me when I fucking get you, like, work in progress image from it. I'll do it.
I'm sorry, what?
Because I'm using bases for a lot of these to riff off of other memes, the style is not consistent across any of them.
Me when I fucking get you.
God, it looks so cursed.
I'm gonna stretch it too. Here we go. I fucking get you. This is what goes after you if you don't read your chapters for book club, okay?
Oh, good lord.
If you're late to read your chapters, this comes after you. It's not good. You don't want to fuck with this.
Okay, does it work retroactively or no?
No.
God damn it.
Plus, I'm its creator, so it can't get me. I have God immunity.
Sorry, so I'll read the chapters now? Okay, good. Get to reading. All of Umineko. I will
honestly,
say,
I keep telling my server, like, it's honestly a really fun read.
I will say
No,
I have been potentially spoiled about one detail which I don't think we've learned about yet. So I say potentially spoiled because I don't know if I was actually spoiled. But I was watching another AndyTuber's video where they announced that they were going to be starting to read Umineko on a live stream every like Wednesday night or whatever. And in their video announcing this, they had explained, because I'm talking about Trixie the Golden Witch or whatever. Wait,
so are you going to accidentally spoil everyone else here too?
No, I'm not going to say what they said. Chill out. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you for assuming that I'm just going to blatantly say spoilers that I don't even know are spoilers, okay? All I'm trying to say is that they made this announcement video, okay, and I listened to it, and in it they said one spoiler about it, which was an influence for why they started to read it. And I don't know if it's actually a spoiler or if they're saying it's like an interpretation kind of thing. I don't know, but we'll find out. Okay.
I will tell you yes or no. I just want to know.
Yeah, don't answer yes or no to it, okay? But
What you're telling me is that our book club is being blatantly stolen from.
Well, they might be doing the visual novel, not the manga.
Well, no, yeah, they're doing the visual novel. But I will say, lately, you know, us starting to read Umineko and seeing, like, a larger increase in Umineko content everywhere on the internet, it seems. I don't know if it's one of those effects where you learn something for the first time, now you see it everywhere, or if there's just a thing happening now where everybody's just getting into Umineko at the same time. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
It cannot be seen.
Like, I don't... Because, like, now I'm seeing all of Umineko fan art pop up. At least 3 people I've followed on Twitter have now begun to read Umineko. You know, really, it's because of this book club, okay?
Exactly.
Everybody watches,
100%.
everybody listens, and obviously, they all, like... are just going into Umineko. They're not reading the manga. They're going right into the visual novel, okay? Because they're just like, oh my god, this is so peak, but I don't want to read the manga because the book club handling the manga. So I'll read the visual novel, you know?
I did notice that when I started rereading Umineko last month, the visual novel, of course, that
yeah, of course.
I started noticing more like fan art and stuff. I guess I was just like more keenly aware of it, but I do think that it has like had a bit of a resurgence in the past couple months because of the Anime Expo stuff.
Yeah.
Because Rikushi came over to California for a bit and had the big panel and talk and stuff. So I do think that did kind of resurge a little bit of people, you know, posting about it.
Right, right.
But also, the main part, though, clearly was because of the club.
Of
Yeah,
course.
obviously. I mean, obviously. We all know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just how it goes.
I wish there was more sound effects from Umineko that sounded okay out of context.
What does that mean?
Not just because, well, there's a lot of them, but they're more like
Death, murder sound effects.
There's one. There's one that they use for literally every gore scene, and it's like a kind of a crunching. It's kind of like a joint popping sound effect.
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
yummy.
And it's like,
Love that shit.
We
I
love
really
it.
like joint popping sound effect is like the best one, but kind of like a grinding of it. It's not fun.
Do you have a
You don't know
question?
how to have fun.
Yeah,
One
where's your
question,
sense of
Shadow.
enjoyment? Yeah, what's your question?
All right, so I was reading the club newsletter stuff. What the fuck does TM mean?
Trademark?
Trademark.
There's layers
Okay.
to having to explain it to Shadow why I'm saying trademark or whatever, okay, I guess, because you don't understand some memes like soon TM, okay? When somebody says soon and they don't
It means they're
actually...
American.
Is that what that means? Is
Yes.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Trademarks belong to American, Shadow, and we use that to signify that an American is talking.
So we actually say that for everything because we own everything because we're America, okay?
Well,
Let's
it's not.
rely
It's
on-
not for everything, though. It's to really signify the importance of what you're saying, right? It's because it's already kind of it's rhetorical, but you add it to certain parts.
Shadow,
to
the
make
reason
it
that he
simple.
added trademarked after soon was because he knew that if he didn't imply that he knew that he was lying, we would get onto his ass for the fact that he wasn't on quote unquote soon. Like when he sent that, I was ready to hop on voice call. I was sitting here drawing, like I was eating my dinner. I was ready to go.
Hey,
right?
nobody
And Chap
stops you
said-
from entering the voice call. Nobody stops you from entering the voice
said-
call just because I'm
Chap
not in
said-
it yet. Nobody stops you from doing that.
And Chap said,
You're
I'll
the
be on
only
soon
one stopping
trademark.
yourself from entering the voice chat. There's no restrictions on this. Anybody can jump into it. Nothing
Because he knows
stops
that
you.
he says, I'll be on soon at like 5 p.m. my time, okay, which is an hour beforehand. You, especially you, Shadow, is going to be on in like 15 minutes and be like, Chap, I thought you said you were going to be on soon, SMH.
So the point of soon TM is to say I'm saying soon in like air quotes, okay? It might not be immediately soon, okay? It might be later, closer to when we start, all right?
Quotations.
Because it's
Well,
soon
and the way
TM. It
that
works
I-
the same kind of way. It's
Okay.
like
The way
saying,
that
that's like
I read
saying,
it-
listen, why don't you just say only this one way? There's a million other ways to say something.
The way that I read it was that it was like soon as in Chap's definition of soon, which is why it was trademarked.
I'm sending the
Because
message an hour
chat
before we start. I'm not
soon.
sitting in this voice chat for an hour before we start. That's never happening. But I need to tell you
Coward.
guys. But I
Coward.
need to tell you guys that we're going to be starting. It's not that hard.
Okay.
That's
I
amazing.
learned a lot of things about America today. That's all I can say.
Okay. All right. Well, we've confused Shadow enough with our memes, okay? We've confused them enough.
you Americanites in your lingo.
We've given
Oh
it,
my
yeah,
God.
it's only an America thing, let me tell you. Yeah, yeah.
Look, okay, as a Canadian, I can say it hasn't
Made up,
figured
Jim.
happened once.
Total
with me, right?
fabrication.
I think we all got to go to Tim Hortons. That's what we have to do, okay?
No, it's not even that good.
Well,
I've never been to Tim.
I've been
Well-
there like once, and it was like, eh.
do they have Monster?
Yes,
You
because
also
you're
have
not
never had a
Canadian.
mozzarella
We
stick,
know.
so.
All right, welcome everybody. Let me turn off pre-show and we'll begin. Welcome everybody to another exciting week of Anime Book Club here on youtube.wolfborg.com, twitch.wolfborg.com, and kick.wolfborg.com. All of these places, all at the same time. You can pick the best one. The VODs will live on YouTube afterwards, so you can always check them out on there later. We are going to be continuing Umineko When They Cry, Episode 2, Turn of the Golden Witch. We're going to be concluding this episode, and then we'll be starting Episode 3 next week. So, before we get started with this discussion, let's go through our guests here. In alphabetical order, as usual, Arimia. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Arimia. You should read Umineko.
What's going to happen if they don't?
You will not know Peak. Simple
Oh.
as that. You will not have read Peak.
Oh, I mean, that's true. I mean, what are you going to do without that? What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Go back to reading Dorohedoro? Who would do that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it couldn't be me.
Not me.
Dorohedoro's done. I mean, so is Umineko, but like Umineko's like a lot longer. So you'll be reading it for a lot longer.
You're saying they have to start reading now before their time runs out? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I am 75 hours into my reread of Umineko, and I just got to the halfway mark.
You're talking about the visual novel specifically, right?
Yes, the visual
Okay.
novel specifically.
Well, good
No,
luck
I
with your
spent-
journey on that.
I spent 75 hours reading, 20 volumes? Dear Lord.
Oh, God.
The speedrun's insane.
Scanning every single page with my eyes and burning them in my retinas.
Look at every single pixel, okay?
All right, well, thank you so much for that. Next up, you have me, Chaplain, a.k.a. Wolfborg, a.k.a. Battlerborg is my current nickname for the current series that we're reading here. And if I were to... I was trying to think of what I wanted to shout out as a thing. And I think I'm going to shout out Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses, which I will be starting to play at some point soon. Now they have the PS2 memes also been started. I specifically want to shout out that one Yu-Gi-Oh! Meme that somebody sent me of it immediately after I said I got it, where it's Yugi saying that his name is Henry Tudor, but you could call him Yugi. So
It's like that or like British Bandicoot. That's the best part.
So, yeah, get excited for that potentially in the future, all right? Get excited for those streams. We're going to play through all that at some point. All right, next up we have Nyan Bacon. Introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Nyan. You may hear me referred to as Nyan and or Andy. I would prefer Nyan. Thanks. You should subscribe to Wolfborg on YouTube.
Yes, you should. Absolutely
Only
should.
YouTube?
Yeah, don't nowhere else, just YouTube. Yeah.
Only YouTube.
Okay.
The YouTube content is booming, okay, in terms of the book club streams, because I haven't actually uploaded an actual video to the YouTube in a while, except for the VOD archive channel, which you can go and check. That's where all my Twitch VODs live after we're done. So if you miss those live, you can watch that on there and give those likes, and it's amazing. But I am still working slowly on scripts for actual YouTube videos for my channel. The only thing is I have another project that I'm working on for Jataka Network, for the rebranding for that. So that's a series of episodes of a video project. So once I'm through with that, then I can put more focus into my personal channel content. So
Sorry.
don't break everything. And also, get excited for emotes potentially by Nyan Bacon that are getting worked on in the server and Twitch chat then, because that's going to be based. All right, well, anything else? Do you have
nope,
do you have a
that's it.
stream sack?
I do not have a stream
We
snack.
haven't
I
done
just have...
that in a while, you know.
I'm sorry. I haven't been sharing my stream snack because I haven't streamed meals.
How are we gonna
but I
eat?
did have meatloaf and broccoli for dinner.
Ooh. What I have? I had like Hot Pockets, and I had meatball mozzarella Hot Pockets.
Have
and,
you
like,
hydrated?
Yes, I've hydrated. Yes, you guys have waterboarded me enough in the chat, okay? You've waterboarded me enough. Are you happy?
I had grilled chicken tenders and fried potatoes, eggplant, and squash.
Oh my god. Wow.
Yeah.
Red bread and cheese.
Yeah.
Bread and cheese? Oh my god.
Wow.
That's
A
a
meal
lot.
fit for kings.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
It's all they can afford in Canada.
Yeah, true. It must be a
In
Canada
fake-
thing.
Sorry, in fake Canada.
Ah,
Canadians
I
can
see.
actually afford more.
All right, well,
Except the
thank you for that,
slander.
Nyan. Thank you for that, Nyan. And now, Shadow Pawn, aka Shadow Man, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Shadow. The thing I recommend is don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Spirit Color. It's hell on earth.
I'll try not to. You know, I almost did by accident.
Look, me and Ron have finally made to hour 300. We're still nowhere close.
Bro, I finished Spirit Caller when I was in high school.
No, no, no,
There's
no.
no damn way.
Alright, you understand. That's beating the game. Beating the game is like 50 hours. 100% is like 400 hours. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I need to find my copy just to prove you wrong.
Are we gonna have a
100%.
we're gonna have a speed run race of Yu-Gi-Oh! Spirit Caller?
Oh my god.
It'd be quicker than playing Umineko, the visual novel.
Oh my
Twice,
god.
Actually, if you don't quicker do it twice somehow.
All right, well, good luck on your journey with that, Shadow. We believe in you and your spirit collar grind, okay? We believe in you. Okay, now it's time to begin our discussion on Umineko, When They Cry, Episode 2, Turn of the Golden Witch, Volumes 4 and 5, around that much. Because I think there's like 2 chapters at the beginning that were from the end of the original Volume 3, but we're reading the omnibus kind of splits of them, so it's essentially mostly Volumes 4 and 5, up to the end of Episode 2. So, oh my god. Okay, we've reached the end of another loop. Okay, it seems to be the trend so far seems to be each episode is just going to be one whole loop or whatever of this story. At least for now is what it seems like. And it's immediately continuing with what was the very last events was them discovering all the people murdered in the chapel, unless there was something else afterwards. I'm pretty sure it was just them finding out that they were murdered in the chapel. Jessica is very upset, and Cannon is trying to like take care of her. And
so what happened? So we stopped last time. It was everybody. They had found the dead bodies in the chapel of all of the parents and their spouses, save Rosa, of course, because Rosa does not have a spouse. And they, the kids saw them, the cousins, and they all run back to the main house. But then Jessica runs off to find Beatrice because she's sure that she's the mastermind behind it, because Beto is actually in this game world as a piece. They call their other versions pieces because it's kind of chessboardy.
Yeah.
And that's where that's where last week we left off. So this week is Jessica has ran off. Cannon and Goda have gone to help her, but Goda leaves Cannon in her care. Leaves her in Cannon's care. Because he's like, yeah, Cannon's got this. Cannon does not got
Cannon does not got that.
Cannon does not got this, okay? Cannon is just there like, Jessica, it'll be okay. And then, like, Beatrice shows up, and it's like, oh, shit, we're fucked. Well,
not only does he mess up where he isn't able to really comfort Jessica because previous events where he totally dismissed her,
destroyed
her rejection.
Heart.
Yep.
Her confession. But then he leaves the room, and as soon as he does, Vito's there, and she's like, hey, you're my next sacrifice. Move.
I have to kill a couple now. You two are looking like a couple enough to me. It's time to die.
Like, yeah, hey, you fucked up your confession, but we can look past that.
This is enough for me. Okay, this is enough. We can still kill. It'll still count. It's fine.
It'll still count.
It's fine,
so she runs. So of course, Cannon is not able to fight back, but he does try to fight back. And this is literally like y'all were complaining last week, but literally one chapter more, and you will see why Cannon is so like, we're not human, Shannon. Because he can bring a fucking sword out of his hand, like.
No, that's pretty human. I can do that. Yeah. Can you not do that?
No, I can't. I can't, actually.
So yeah, that was the one thing I took away from this week's reading. This is the supernatural stuff turned up to, like, an insane degree. Where, like, but the stuff before in the previous volume with Beatrice showing up and saying all this stuff and doing some stuff to the relationships, like, seemingly influencing it, you can have, like, vague interpretation of what's going on with that. This is a literal, like, super-powered battles against Cannon with a energy sword coming out of his fucking hand, and like goat demon people that also have swords or something like that fighting him. Did they also have? I'm pretty sure they also had swords.
Yes.
I think they did. Yeah.
Honestly, they're really screwed.
So it seemed.
And then, of course, we also get the 7 stakes of purgatory.
Which now have like their own bodies now. They're not just stakes. They've been waifu-fied or whatever. Like they have. And they're very horny. All of them.
Asmodeus and Satan.
It seemed like
so lust and wrath.
So it seemed like all of them were horny. I thought it was just gonna be lust, but I'm pretty sure the other ones were also saying horny shit or doing horny shit. So it's like, oh, okay.
Excuse you. Satan was horny for blood. It's different.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
is it not
different.
horny still? Is it not horny? I don't know.
It's a different kind of down bad.
Listen,
Exactly. Thank you,
Listen,
Shadow.
without love, it cannot
there's-
be seen.
I'm just saying, we chose specific ways to phrase "I'm gonna stab you now" in ways that are very explicit. Okay, very interesting ways to describe. It's time for me to stab through you right now. You know, we had a couple creative ways to say that. All right. So we had those show up. Those are now elements too, where they're just can be people, I guess. And Cannon and Shannon are we know at least Jessica's killed by this. Cannon, it seems like he's killed, but then the body disappears, and then later comes back as like a not him version of him.
I think it was an illusion.
Yeah, where like. I mean, there's a couple steps.
Hey, Cannon, what the fuck are you doing? Stop touching that.
Like, because at some point Rosa's like, okay, these two are dead, or well, Jessica at least is dead. I don't trust any of the servants anymore because you guys have the master keys. So I'm just gonna get you all fucking in your own space, get the fuck out of here. And then when they go in their spot, Cannon comes knocking, or someone who seems to look like Cannon is knocking at the door. And when they bring him in and try to treat him, because it looks like he's got the stake through his like chest or whatever, or not through, there was a stake through his chest or something like that. So there's just a gaping hole or whatever. Cannon's acting like he's perfectly fine. It's just a flesh wound, sticking his hand into it and shit, and then saying Rosa tried to kill me, like trying to deceive them or whatever. And what was it? Shannon immediately picks up that this is not actually Cannon. Not only just because he's acting weird and like this giant hole in his chest is nothing, but also because he's just acting differently or like wouldn't have a certain key or something like that. I forget what it was, but something about it made Shannon realize this is not Cannon. And then she went and got like a spider cobweb thing and used that, I guess, because she had heard that spider webs were wards against some of the evil spirits on Rokenjima or something like that. And then they ended up... There was a whole fight between the servants trying to capture this weird illusion, Shadow Cannon or whatever. He still kills like two of them. Who was it? It was the woman there. Was it
Kumasawa and
the doctor?
Yeah.
Well, if the doctor's dead, we're fucked. Okay, I don't know what we're gonna do with it.
I will say that since the whole debate throughout the story is whether or not there is a witch or a supernatural element, it was pretty convenient that Cannon only had to kill other supernatural beings with his supernatural sword. Because if he had to kill like real people, that actually would have raised the question of like, okay, how did he do that if he didn't otherwise have this blade on him?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So there's a whole big element with that kind of scene and stuff like that. But a big other development has been added towards our story here. And that is that Beatrice, who is tired of Battler explaining away what she's trying to confirm as magic, has said, we're going to add a new rule to the game that we're playing here. The 4D chess game that we're playing here about the story. And this new rule is... everything I say in red will be the truth. Will be absolutely confirmed to be the truth of something that happened. And
all right, so is there a visual novel meme where she says he's gay?
Listen,
because if there's not, that's a missed opportunity.
Listen, we already had the one really good screen cap of her late. Oh, I mean, I don't know if somebody posted it, but if you haven't, you need to. The screen cap of her saying in red, "You are incompetent."
Yeah,
we need that.
I sent that to my own server because I was like, "Damn, she's hot." I also accidentally sent the picture of her feet on Battler without realizing that he was naked because I was so not paying attention to him.
So, I'm assuming in the version, based on the screenshot, I'm assuming in the version you guys read, they made the text actually red for your versions. Yes. Yeah. My version, they didn't make it red. They made it a certain font and like all caps and bold, so you can clearly tell that it's that, even with it not being red.
That's stupid. Make it
red.
They had
to
because they had to because theirs was also a print version, so they had to make it like that because they weren't going to print colors for all the pages just for the red text meme. They weren't going to do that.
I'm just saying that in the one that I sent in Spoiler Zone, it looks a lot cooler than the one that Aremia sent.
Wait, let me see here. Yes, yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I look at the one Arimia sent, and I'm like, okay, I like that they do the red font, but or they do the red for it. But I'm also just like, this feels like it's not Comic Sans, but
And
it
it's
feels
not,
like
it's not like it's not like the difference is subtle. Like they make it very obvious in the non-colored versions.
Yeah. Yeah, so like so they do the same thing in my version where it's just like they mostly do a font similar to this type, the one that Ann sent, and it works for that, but I really like how that element is not only added, but we do like interesting things with it. Like it's not so initially Beatrice introduces this as a mechanic to torture Battler more by saying, "Oh, you want to say that the reason why you can't figure this out is because there's some details that aren't added. You want to explain it away with something that you just can't see right now and come up with a whole bunch of stuff. Well, I'm just going to start saying shit that will destroy and defeat your like hopes that this is actually like something that you can explain away." And he then immediately is like, no, wait, actually, I can use this against her because if she won't say something in red, I'll know that she's fucking making shit up. And she's like, I'm on towards what she's not like hiding from me. And so he uses this to his advantage because I thought it was going to be, I knew there was going to be wordplay bullshit, which there eventually ended up being for one specific case where it had to deal with her definition of a hidden escape. Or a secret door, like her definition of it not being what his definition of it is, and there's some wordplay trickery with that. I knew that was going to come up eventually. I figured as much. I did not figure it was going to be, there was also going to be something like, you know, specifically using the fact that she will not say something in red. Like she will refuse to say it in red as a thing, but then she starts turning that around later on by saying, well, I'm just going to refuse to fuck with you, or I'm just going to like, because he's thinking to himself, maybe she's not refusing to say it in red to like, because maybe it is true that this happened, but she just doesn't want to say because she wants to throw me off about what I'm supposed to be thinking about. So then there's like more complicated elements to it. But I liked how at first he caught her off guard with it because I pretty much assumed the similar type of thing in his case where, for the first time when it happened and he was trying to figure out how, because it's mostly just, here's a locked room and I'm trying to make it a locked room by saying it's magic and you can't explain it otherwise. And I'm going to say a couple facts in red so that you know that some of the basic things that you might expect in a locked room cannot be used for this. But then we end up figuring out, well, actually, no, there is still an explanation for it, and you're just trying to make it seem like there is no explanation for it with that. So the big one being, how did they get into the chapel and then leave it, get into the chapel, kill all of them, and then leave it, and it still be locked as it is, given where the master key to get into it were? Or there's only one key that's supposed to work for the chapel, right? Only one key specifically works for the chapel, I believe. And that key was inside of the envelope that Maria had. And so this key, which was inside the envelope that Rosa found in Maria's room from the envelope the morning they discovered the bodies, the question is, how could it have been used if it was in the envelope? I'm immediately thinking, well, I mean, that's pretty easy to me. It just either was never in the envelope at first and then was put into it later, or you just took the envelope at first, took the key out, used it, and then put a new envelope with it in back there. Like, Maria never took it out. It was just there in her bag the whole time. We never really brought it up again until we needed it to open the chapel. And Maria wasn't going to use it until it was actually important. It didn't even know it was in there until it was important, probably. So that one wasn't that hard for me to, like, realize. But there was also the question of, oh, well, also there could just be, like, some kind of hidden thing for the chapel. Because the chapel is, like, a specific thing where it's already weird because Kinzo was more on the occult side of things, and he had the chapel be maintained because of some miracle related to it that may or may not happen in the future for him. But it's not really something he ever went to or near. It's just there. And so they're all just kind of like, I don't even know fully why this is here, but he's just always had us maintain it or whatever. And there's only one key to it specifically. And there's something, the chapel is going to be important later on, I'm assuming, because there's some text in English at the top of it, which we're not fully told all of. in this volume. We're told like a bit about it, and it's supposed to be something related to the probability of the door opening for the chapel, whatever that's supposed to mean. And they're saying I think Battler is trying to read it and like trying to say if that says like a million, quadrillion, trillion, or something like that. But there's some like probably large number probability thing that's listed on there, which for some reason we're just not shown. Probably because it's going to be important later. I'm assuming, but that's my guess. I don't know fully, but the questions are: what is with the setup with the chapel? It's similar to the last loop where if you really didn't want the bodies discovered because you're trapped on the island, why would you make a big show out of it? Why would you draw a whole thing on the door to let them know that the bodies are in there? Why would you do an elaborate setup of all the people at the table but disemboweled that could potentially leave a bunch of evidence or weird stuff? Why would you go through all of that effort to do all that stuff, right? And there's like that's still a question that might be a thing later, but right now, from the reader's perspective, it seems like most of it is only elaborately set up to try to convince people that there is a witch that is doing this. I don't know if it's specifically targeted towards Battler at this point, or if it's still trying to convince everybody on the island that a witch is doing this over time, but trying to make a whole theatrical thing out of this. But the main assumption in like both loops immediately is the servants are probably involved. They all immediately assume that the servants are involved. And I don't know how I feel about that, but I also can sort of understand where the Ushiromiya family is like, our family just seems to keep dying all of a sudden. As soon as we're coming to talk about inheritance and wealth and all that. I wonder if there's somebody outside of the family that's trying to fuck with this shit. And naturally they're going to look towards the servants as like their first suspects for that.
Well, and the other reason that the servants always end up being the reasonable conclusion is because they have such easy access to every room. They're always the first ones to have the keys, and like those keys don't end up in other people's possessions unless the servants are the ones giving them. So the reasonable conclusion would be that, you know, the servants are the one behind it. Right. The other thing that sorry, this is going back to something that you had already said, so I want to go ahead and say it. The other thing that the you know, violent dismemberment makes me think of is just the instilling inherent distrust in each other to then give the opportunity to make it easier to kill people. If we're assuming that it's a person and not a witch, that would be my first assumption upon, you know, seeing how much like distress it causes people, and the fact that very often, you know, Jessica immediately runs off to grab that fucking lamp to, you know, beat up Beatrice or whatever, and stuff like that. And then it always ends up that the servants and the rest of the family get separated. So it's just the idea that making it as gruesome as possible would then lead to the psychological torment that would allow for people to be more vulnerable and targetable.
Right. The one main thing when it comes with the servant stuff too that I want to say before I forget about it is, you know, even though they suspect the servants very simply because of, you know, especially the matter of they have access to everything, there's also the point of, well, then it would be too obvious that they would have done it, so they wouldn't have done it in the way that they did. So why would they have done it like that if it actually is the servants and layers like that? There's like layers and layers. And a lot of it is probably, like you said, to just try to make them all be suspicious of each other, to divide them all very easily. And we have a lot of it, especially in this volume, where it's like Rosa is immediately accusing the servants. She's calling this all a wolf and sheep game, or a wolf and sheep puzzle, where like the puzzle is like if you have to, what was it? You have wolves and sheeps, and you have to try to get them across a river. You can only carry like 2 at a time, and if the wolves ever outnumber the sheep, they eat all the sheep. And so you have to get them all across without letting the wolves eat the sheep on either side of it. And so the point of it is trying to say that she thinks there is a traitor among their like group there. Okay,
Among Us.
We do have Among Us. Okay, so they're saying there's a wolf among us. It's a whole different game, not Umineko. That's a different Telltale game. So canon. Okay, I'm trying to think through how I felt about like Canon's last like attempts in the fights with all of them, and the whole speech about the furniture and being human and all and the whole debate about that. And I understand that it's supposed to be more of like we're not human because we're like supernatural beings. Or it seemed like because there was references to the Kinzo specifically being good at raising his furniture, so it seemed like he's getting these people from the orphanage, and I don't know if there's specific types of people he's recruiting that end up being the spiritual types or whatever, or if he like does something in training them to like create them into these supernatural wielding things or whatever. But also, I'm still in battler mode of Think Through this series, okay? And most of that fighting scene, I'm reading it just like, okay, this is a lot of stuff happening where only 2 characters are here and both of which are probably going to die. So I don't know if any of this is actually happening or if this is all fucking bullshit. I don't know.
Yeah, Beach was going to be gaslighting us on the recalling of events.
You know, like, that's what I was thinking. And then the servants saw Cannon come back and then they dealt with the whole thing. But then there was another layer to that because I'm like, okay, now they're actually seeing something and it's a whole group and some of them survive. But then it's like, well, what if they just killed those 2 other people or like just told those 2 other people to leave and then they went back and told the people that crazy shit happened and pretended like that all happened and none of it happened? I don't know. And then they tried to set up another locked mystery down there about that. And like, they keep trying to set up locked mystery after locked mystery with this kind of stuff. And Beatrice is trying to really push Battler's buttons the whole time with it. Where like, all right, he got her with the first one. That was like the tutorial introduction of like, this is me saying things in red. That was the tutorial version of it for Battler. Then the next layer was like, okay, actually, this thing that you're trying to think of right now, not only am I going to say, answer that in red, but I'm also going to say this detail and this detail and this detail. I'm going to anticipate you going to ask me about this and this and this, and I'm going to say definitively that this is not that. And like, she did the one thing where it was just the wordplay thing about what a hidden door or escape means, where what was she saying? She was saying in her definition it means to get out of the room, but in his mind it could also mean being still in the room, because one of the theories was somebody had done some crime in a locked room and was still in the room but hidden through like a secret like compartment or closet or something like that. But when he asked her to say in red that nobody used a hidden door, her definition of a hidden door out of there is like different because she's thinking it's a hidden door out, not just a hidden door in general. So she's not
just
saying
a hidden compartment.
Yeah. So she cannot say in red because he starts literally saying, repeat after me in red if you can. Okay. This, or whatever. And we'll like literally say a sentence trying to see if she'll repeat it. But then I think
but then like in the next scene,
the third
didn't
one,
she immediately go?
Yes,
like,
she did.
Yeah, actually, there are no secret compartments.
She did.
Fuck you.
She was like, now's my time to really fuck with him, because he's like, I got her now, and then she's like, yes, that happened. Yeah, that's not a thing. Yeah, that's a thing. Also, this is a thing. And if you're thinking this, that's not a thing. The only people in the room right now are currently you guys, and nobody else is in there. There's nobody hidden in there, and like. It's one of the things where I'm sure she's like saying all this to like fuck with him and he's not paying attention to where he's actually supposed to think towards it. Because I'm still battler brain with this. There has to be some kind of answer to some of these things. There has to be some kind of answer, but he just can't think of it at the time. And in his mind too, he's being destroyed mentally, both in the meta version of him and the current version of him, where Rosa is so distrustful about everybody. Everybody wants to like argue with each other and all that. And he's literally submitting himself to Beatrice at a certain point, because he's like, just tell Rosa that there was no duplicate spare key so she stops trying to fucking kill us, please. Stop trying to kill the servants, please. I'll do anything. But she's just like, listen, if you really want me to do it, all you gotta do is surrender and admit that I'm a witch. And I think eventually he like starts to, and then we get towards like the Battler lost, he's now furniture kind of ending later on. And that's where we got a lot of scenes that Anne was very vocal about.
God, I wish it were me!
Which Which I think I also mentioned this at the end of last week's stream too, or maybe it was off stream, where like I looked at the first couple images past the cover of this volume, and it's just Battler chained up and naked, and with Beatrice holding the chains for him and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? What?
It's like an interesting turn, and I don't like it.
I do.
So
Okay, well, now that's to Canadian Americans.
So, okay, so the other thing, too, with the servants. So, obviously, most of them are like, we're not involved with this. What are you talking about? And maybe they are, maybe they're not. But at the very least, as it's shown to us, they're trying what they can to, like, explain to Rosa that they would never do this. But really, they have no evidence to prove that they didn't. But Battler's just arguing, like, Rosa, you can't just keep accusing them like this without definitive proof. You can't just accuse them because it's convenient or whatever. You need actual reason to do it. Rosa's playing this like she's playing Among Us based on vibes. There's no facts based on it. It's just, I don't know, Goda's a little sus, okay? A little sus, I don't like it. A little sus, like literally. It's literally just her playing Among Us on vibes. Literally just vibes only. And sometimes those people are right, but that doesn't mean you could just go fucking killing people in real life like this in a scenario. Like, you gotta chill. We gotta chill here. So there's a whole layer with that kind of stuff. And the head guy, the head servant there, Genji, is like the perfect servant still, even despite all of that. And is just like, listen, I understand. You can't trust us now, okay? But we've served you well, and we'll do whatever you say. We'll give you all our master keys right now, Rosa, so you'll know. And then we'll go stay in this one room. And, maybe if we're all alive in the morning, you could somehow see it in your heart to trust us again in the future, because we had nothing to do with this. But we have no way to prove it to you, so we're just going to, submit ourselves to whatever you ask of us. And for a while, we'll have a couple scenes where Rosa's like sympathetic to the fact of like, okay, I understand, Genji, you're like a really good servant towards us, and you're like the best servant towards the end. Okay, I respect you still, but unfortunately, given the circumstances, we have to separate. And it seemed like, okay, that's fine, everything's fine. And then she turned around and was like, you know what? Fuck it, I have to kill them. It's got to be one of them. It's got to be one of them. And Battler's like, well, we gotta calm down.
She goes, well, Genji, you've been such a wonderful servant. I'm sad that I have to distrust you and stuff, which is which is basically what happened in the first episode is with Natsuhi, where she's like, I'm so sorry, I have to distrust you, but I have to protect my kids. But then except with Rosa, we get that, and then as soon as they leave, she's like, I know we can't trust any of them. They're all wolves, all of them.
Fuck it, I have to kill them. I should just kill them now. I need to fucking kill them. I gotta kill them. Battler's like, no.
They had the chance, they would kill all of us immediately. And Battler's just like, what
the fuck gave this bitch a gun?
I was gonna say as well. Oh yeah, go on.
I do like though the dichotomy of the two, because you get Natsuhi's version and then you get Rosa's, which just completely different.
I can't wait to see Eva with a gun.
Yes, because I was gonna point out. I noticed the whole like, okay, now she seems like she's being compared to Natsuhi's role in the last episode, so somebody else is taking up this, where she's like basically de facto made herself like the like mother in charge of the situation, trying to like take control of the things. Where last time it was Natsuhi and this time it's Rosa, and it could be somebody else later on, like Eva. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, because in episode 1, Natsuhi was the main one because even though she was lower down on the ranks than most of them, she was still like, this is her house.
Yeah.
This is her home. She is the person who is in charge of the guest relations here. So she is the matron of it. But in episode 2 now, Rosa is the highest because Jessica gets knocked off almost immediately after they find the dead bodies of the first 6. So Rosa is the top honcho in episode 2, and we don't really get to see much of like her thought process about it. Of like, oh, I really am like the highest ranked member here now, but.
I will also say it is interesting in this route where literally all of the adults except for the servants and Rosa. Like, it's just the kids and the servants and then Rosa. Like, all the other adults are just already dead. So we're just trying to deal with, like, okay, now I just got to try to make sure the kids don't die. And then 2 of them die. It's like, okay, probably the servants. I don't trust it. I don't trust like that.
You know, though, what about Battler? He seems a little sus.
You know, I mean, it could always just be bad. Maybe that was the
Look at
answer.
that little face. Look at that face.
Listen,
Blame him.
listen. It could
Say it.
always.
She
Yes.
say
She said in red that he's incompetent. Okay.
True. It has to be true. It has to be true. It's
It has
locked
to
in.
be.
It's
I'm
locked
just
in.
saying, okay? You don't get those arms by natural means.
Some of the facial expressions in these ones were so good. Sorry, I'm looking at the "You Are Incompetent" panel again, and I'm like, the look on Battler's face is so solid.
Yep.
It's a good panel.
It's a good panel.
You are incompetent, Battler. You can't figure it out. And she's like saying this in red at like his lowest moment of like being devastated of like. He thought he finally had it. He was like, she's not going to be able to say this in red. And she's like, oh, I'm going to say that in red. And then I'm going to say this and this and this. Just destroy him. Destroy him. Cook him. He's cooked. But there is some weirdness with some of these cases where I'm thinking that there has to be, the Battler theory side of me, where it's just like, that's a little weird that we did it like that. Where it's like, okay, why is Cannon's body gone? Did we really just magic his body away just to sew people into like losing their minds against each other? Is he actually dead? Was he the killer? Or like when the 2 people die and then their bodies are immediately gone once they get the people out of the room and headed towards the room to inspect it, and now those bodies are gone, but then Genji finds it out in the lawn, like outside later, finds them. So it's like, those are weird circumstances where bodies are missing and then show up later after other events happen. Why are we doing it like that? Like, why is Cannon's body still not showing up other than the shadow version? Is that actually Cannon's body but like taken over by the witch, or is that just all like bullshit? I don't know. There's elements to it that I don't fully understand, but what we do know is that later on several more people were killed. We had, who was it, Goda, Shannon, and George, right? They were all killed.
Okay, Ari, can I ask a quick question?
What?
Oh God.
So we're not going to finish the manga this time around. We might be able to vote to get it done. Is any of this stuff explained retroactively in these earlier loops? Like, go back and explain like it was with Summertime Rendering? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. That makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah, no,
Because
of course it's gonna be explained retroactive. It's all magic. It's all magic. Yeah. What are you talking about? It's all magic.
As Chap mentioned earlier, these episodes are each a new loop, which they are calling games, because chess. But yeah, they will go back and kind of like look at each of these as their own little game and try to understand more about what has happened here. Because Battler and Bito's argument is not just over current events. They can go back and go to any other event and start arguing about that or whatever.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, look at these 2 yappers. They can yap about anything.
It was just like, oh yeah, you've seen this version. We're never going to talk about that again. And I was like, what do you mean?
No.
But okay, that makes me feel better.
So the one thing... Oh yeah, go on, Shadow.
No, you go first.
Okay, so I was going to say the one thing I wanted to highlight about one of the arguments they had was one of the locked rooms that was set up in this volume was essentially not a locked room, but it was only a locked room because Battler refused to distrust one of the members of their family and the servants. He refused to believe that and thought that there must have been another person on the island or something like that, or some other explanation for somebody else to have killed them and not a member of their group. But because he's of this mindset, he is the one making this a locked room, is what Beatrice argues. And I sort of feel that, Because in my mind, I'm just thinking like, no, it probably is just one of your family or the servants. I'm sorry to say it probably is just one of them. I mean, there could also be another person on the island, but I feel like one of those members is probably also involved with it. At least one of them, in my mind. But I do also agree with the fact of like, this does not have to be a locked room thing. You're just making it a locked room by just trying to go out of your way to say that there's no way these other people could be involved. And I did also like that we eventually brought up Rosa distrusting Battler and saying, we don't actually know if you are Battler. We haven't seen Battler in 6 fucking years. Mm-hmm. And because I think I thought that in my head, but I was like, that might be a little much because we have his parents there too. There's no way they would pretend to be. But like, they don't know. They don't know there because they haven't seen him in 6 years. So for all they know, Rufus and the other Kyrie or whatever,
Rudolph and Kyrie.
They might have been somehow involved in whatever weird grift that this Battler is doing or whatever. So like, for all they know, for all they know, this is not actually Battler, and this is like how destroyed Rosa is with her trust later on, where she's like, I don't even know who you are, and all that kind of stuff. And
at this point, Battler doesn't know who he is. Like,
I mean, yeah, he had one point where he's like gave up so hard he just started drinking, and then Goga showed up. So he started drinking, and then Genji showed up, and it's like, all right, it's time to show you the truth. And I'm thinking like, this dude's fucked. He's drunk. I don't know if anything he's about to see is actually real, but he's about to get shown and explain some shit probably. And this is like towards the end climax of it or whatever, where they go into Kinzo's room, which by the way, Kinzo's alive still in this loop, just chilling in his room, as far as we know, still crying over Beatrice. Beatrice, please, let me see you. Beato, please. So he's alive in this loop, and I remember in the end notes or whatever, it's just under the people missing, which we assume means that they survived to the end of the game. He's still listed there, so as far as we know, he's not dead. It was like Kinzo, Rosa, Battler, Maria, and I think there was somebody else. I think it was one other person who I can't remember. Maybe was it Genji? It might have been Genji. But somebody else survived too. Or survived in air quotes, as in they went to the Golden Land, except for Rosa, because Rosa did not believe in Beatrice. So Rosa was not invited to the Golden Land. And
Rosa got to eat her family.
Yeah, she was tortured by Beatrice in the like aftermath of the loop, where she is being forced to eat several different parts of her dead family members, and then for dessert, and what is it, like one of them is a wine that's made from like the last drops of blood from Kraus or whatever, and another is like the face of somebody. This is like the tongue. This is the tongue of a Ava. Okay, so you're eating some tongues of Ava. And for dessert, you're having Maria's head. You're having Maria's head for dessert. We're gonna cook it up. Yeah,
nice little cobbler.
Yeah, and Maria's head's still alive and talking, saying, "Don't worry, Mama. Now you can finally love me. You can finally love me, Mama. You can finally eat me."
That's some new ingredients for us.
I was like, God damn. I was like, yeah.
No, God.
I was just gonna say, the torture with Maria's head thing, saying you can finally love me. I was like, all right, this part's deserved at least. Fuck you, Rosa. Okay, you abused her. Okay.
So true.
That's one part that I don't. I do like a lot more in the visual novel, because that scene goes on for a while in the beginning. So you see Rosa sitting there with Beto across the way, and Beto's just talking to her like it's a chill conversation. Like you feel like Beto's. Like, it's Beto, so she's probably gonna do something, but right now she's behaving, She's just like, wow, Rosa,
she's a dog.
You've had such a hard life living with these terrible siblings. Like, they always looked down on you. They always treated you terribly, like you were worth nothing, just because they had more success than you sometimes. But even then, like, they're kind of stupid. Like, they're all terrible to you, and you get these, like, small little flashbacks of how bad Rosa's life was growing up. Just not long, but more expanded on than this. And then you get to, here's Cross's blood. Would you like some?
Itadakimasu.
You like that wine, don't you? I bet you do. Because like I think she drinks it first, and then
Yeah.
Vito's
not realizing
like,
what it is, and she's explaining
Yeah.
it as she eats it, and she's like, "Oh fuck, that's great." And she's like explaining like we're seeing like the device they use to like squish
Yeah.
out the last bits of blood from somebody, and she's like, "Also, I'm a witch, so normally you'd only be
I
able
can
to
do
get
this
like."
forever.
Normally, you'd only be able to get 1 drop of the last drop of blood from somebody, but I'm a witch, so I can bring all that blood back and squeeze out some more. We can get several drops for that for you, so we'll fill this whole cup for you, okay? Don't worry. Keep drinking.
Good
Keep
shit,
drinking
you
it
know?
up. So, like, eternal torture. We have, like, several tongues of Ava, you know, so repeating the whole, I could do this multiple times with people. Here's the face of fucking this thing or whatever. Like, all sorts of fucked up. All sorts of... And the Maria's head. Oh, my God. Again, a part of me is like, this is horrific, but also part of me is like, yeah, you know, you kind of deserve that one. You kind of deserve that one. I don't know. Fuck Rosa. I know it was trying its best. It was trying to make me feel bad for her, for like what she's trying to do, but also I'm like, fuck Rosa. I'm sorry. I don't feel bad for her for some of this shit. I don't feel bad for her for it. I don't know. But then our hero, and I say this in air quotes because of the line he chose to use to enter.
Hero's trademark.
Appears. Our hero appears
Protagonist. The
to
person
say-
we see the world through
because-
the lens of.
because right before this scene, the last time we saw him was him fully have given in to Beatrice. It was like the hour, like the minute before midnight or whatever. Beatrice is celebrating with all her furniture goons, laughing at how she won again as usual, carrying around her new piece of furniture, naked on a chain, Battler, like using him as a footstool and shit like that, and like. Because she's just like, yeah, so I won. How's my new piece of furniture look, Burn Castle? You like it? It's just yeah. But so during the whole like scene with Rosa getting psychologically fucked with, forced to eat parts of her dead family, right before she's forced to eat Rosa, our hero Battler shows up, and he says some shit about how Maria is 10 years too young to ask people to start eating her up. Like goblin her.
You are ignoring what he yells to Vito before that. That is a very important line.
What was it? Oh yeah. I was like, what the fuck was that one? I forgot about that one. That one I also thought was out of pocket, but the other one later, I was like, what the fuck are you saying? But so this was him saying, he's like, oh, that sounds delicious. And then he says, what does he say to her? Why don't you serve me a sandwich stacked with your sliced cow udders while you're at it? What is this line? That's how it was translated in mine. How did it translate to your guys? How did they translate it there?
Why don't
That's
you
about
slice up your cow tits first on a sandwich or something like that?
Jesus Christ.
That's
That's in the VN too. Don't worry.
Oh, okay,
Direct
all right.
quote.
So he shows up, he says that thing as like a hero, and then like was it like he smashes her like face down or whatever, and then she like respawns. He's like, you should be furniture. Why the fuck are you not submitting to me? And he's like, sure, that was my plan, but your questionable cooking got my taste buds going. You know, I'm a little hungry now, so maybe I'm on a little witch roast here. Okay, he's trying to like shit talk her, and then. Immediately he's like, as for you, Rosa, you know, you're a little too early to be asking people to eat you up, but promise me in 10 years you'll say the same thing to me. Like, Battler, this is not the time. What is this? Actually, no, never is the time. Never is the time for that. What are you doing, Battler?
Get out the spray bottle.
You have that going on, and then Maria says, "I promise," and then Rosa, it just cuts to Rosa's face, all like mentally fucked, with her arms being grabbed by like the goons around her, and she's like crying, and all the food shit's around her. She's like, "But Battler," like she's like my hero or whatever. Finally, someone's gonna save me. But he's saying all this weird shit when he shows up. Bro, I might have to change my name. I don't know. I can't. What am I supposed to do with that?
So Ryukishi has an interesting way of writing sometimes. That just
interesting.
Interesting, you say.
It just kind of like creeps up on you, where it's just like, oh, why did you include that? It's very rarely. And after this, that's I think like the last instance of it, but it's just like, why do you do that sometimes, Ryukishi? Like,
I can understand the whole why don't you serve your fucking cow tits or whatever to like that's all right, that's also out of pocket, but it's like I can understand it. That one's more of a fuck you, like bitch, get the fuck out of here kind of line. What is with the Maria shit still right now? Like we had a couple references to it at the beginning of the series in the first loop, but it was more like it was not at all that level. I don't know what the fuck that's about. I don't know. But anyways.
It's just a weird Ryukishi-ism, is all I can say. Because, like, Battler is, like, you could take out those, and it would change literally nothing about his character. Because it doesn't affect his character at all. It's just, like, it's just something weird that he writes in sometimes. That's all.
It's just funny to me.
You can see it in Higurashi, too, where it's just like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
I get it. It's just funny to me though because I see him with like his finger pointed out and a smile on his face. He's like winking. He's like here to be the hero. But then he's saying like Maria, promise me in 10 years, you know, we can hook up. It's like what the fuck are you saying, bro? I can't screen cap that good art and that have that line next to it. What are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? I can't. But yeah, that was the whole thing where I was just like, all right, well that's it's.
That's a way to do that.
The Ryukishiisms, I will say, they have a way of being memorable. Not always in the best way, but they're memorable, okay? They're memorable, I will say.
They have some quality to them. We'll just put it like that.
But I will say, for like... all of the... Again, I do really enjoy this artist and how they're handling some of the art in some of these, like, more intense action-y scenes. Where, like, Battler's confronting Beatrice and all that, like... Man, I really like the art for this artist. I do. I still. Were you gonna say more?
Nope, that's it. I was just saying me too. I like the art.
Oh, I thought you said Miko. I thought you were trying to call it Miko.
No.
Because also I am trying to call it Miko. How could you hate this art? What's wrong? What's wrong with the art?
Again, it's all right. It's just I prefer other artists' interpretations of Bito.
Like, I think the only time I was unsure about the art was at the very beginning, probably because, one, I was already getting used to the old art style, and two, it was also opening with, like, the shoujo romance scenes between Shannon and George. So it was, like, mostly them and their dates, and then Cannon and Jessica's dates or whatever. Well, dates in air quotes with them. It was like a lot more of that. But now that we've gotten into the big, like, meat of everything going on with this loop, and it's a lot more intense. There's a lot more visceral shit going on and horrific shit. I'm enjoying it. A part of me also wonders if how much detail this artist went into for the Battler and Chain stuff. If they're also a known artist in certain other genres, if you know what I mean. Because I would not be so. And I think you were also pointing out too. You were like, why does Battler look so long? Why is he like that? They might also do some yaoi art, is what I'm assuming.
I didn't want to say that, but then Arumia said it, and I was like, okay, we were all thinking the same thing.
Because I definitely noticed that in some scenes, too. But, you know, it's whatever. But it's all good. Everything with the other... And then we had the bonus meme stuff with the tea party. The secret tea party. Burn Castle and Lambda Delta showing up. So entering the party there. Now, I'm confused with Lambda Delta, because it sounded like Beatrice invited Lambda Delta to help against Burn Castle, because Beatrice has obviously noticed that Burn Castle is trying to do something to influence the story towards Battler's side, and so we've summoned Lambda Delta as an enemy to Burn Castle to, like, help out or whatever. But then, immediately later, Lambda Delta's like, I'm gonna help you, Battler, to fuck over Burn Castle through proxy of defeating Beatrice. If I'm understanding her, it's like I'm going to be the one that beats Beatrice, and therefore I will have beaten Burn Castle. Is how I interpreted it. But I was just like, so does Beatrice know about that? Did she expect that to happen? I don't know what's going on with the layers of these witches here. What's going on?
Well, I'm just doing some trolling. That's it. Okay.
Pretty
She's
much.
It also
a
doesn't.
super paper, apparently.
It doesn't feel yet like Burn Castle and obviously Lambda Delta, like, because she only just stepped in, had any real impact on Battler's performance in the last game.
Allegedly.
So
Yeah.
I was thinking about that too, but there might have been like some invisible like influence thing that we might not have
secret
realized, or like we won't
Secret-
see right
secret
now,
goofy
but we'll
things.
probably understand
Yeah.
more so later was an influence that they did. That's what I'm assuming, but I don't know, because there was never like a scene where Berncastle just directly showed up and like gave a hint or whatever, but there might have been something that influenced where like Battler looked or what Battler thought about, or like something could have also, or like maybe there could have been like some piece of evidence that was not present before, or should not have been present, but helped Battler realize a certain thing. There could have been some memes like that, but we do not directly know what Berncastle's role was in that loop at this time. Essentially, unless there was something I didn't pick up on, it seemed like we just don't know.
I didn't see anything.
But we do know that it went differently, and Beatrice noticed that Berncastle was obviously trying to influence things in Battler's way, but she's fine with it because she just wants to have fun with her little games there. She's a little schemer, okay, likes to win her chess games. We gotta flip over the chessboard. Did we have any flip over the chessboard lines in this one? I think there was at least one.
Twice.
Towards
There's a couple.
Yeah,
There were two.
Most of it was probably, I think, towards arguing with either Rosa or Beatrice. Because there was a lot of that, a lot more so of arguing directly with Beatrice because of the whole red text truth stuff that was added in, which is another thing where it's like, I like that we added that in as a mechanic, but also Battler was right to at first be like, I'm supposed to just accept what you're saying is actually true.
It felt like it felt like engaging with a toxic DM. Like
I mean, yeah.
going in and adding all of these
Yeah.
arbitrarily like God said so rules, and I was like, dude, like that ruins the fun.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But I mean, because in some cases, there is an explanation for some of that kind of stuff, but you don't want to spoil it if you're running the campaign. Or
Yeah.
but there could also just be a fuck you, I'm God, I'm gonna make the rules. Because you heard my rambles about the D&D stories on my stream last night or whatever. So there's definitely has been that in the past. I definitely have done that to people in the past. But but in this kind of case, it's one of those things where it's like, could she just literally say anything to influence things, or is she saying it just to fuck with him, or like? I don't know. Are we going to have to do some weird trick later on to confirm whether or not what she's saying in red is actually true? Like, I want you to say this text is green, or some shit like that. Like, I don't know what's going to go with it. But I do like the element added in as like a thing, because it kind of helps when you're dealing with a story that's supposed to be part like actual murder mystery in reality, but part potentially influenced by supernatural elements to it, and it's trying to argue to you that there could be a case where something cannot be done by humans, it has to be supernatural. But how do you have a situation happen when it's not too overtly obviously supernatural, like goat people with like laser blades fighting you? Like, how do you get it to not be that level, but also still be believable that a human could not have done a thing, and that there's no kind of gimmick to do it? And so this element makes it nice in terms of like how this is experienced as like a piece of fiction with the red text stuff, because it's a thing where we can, at least as far as we know right now, definitively say that this one line of thought that the reader might think cannot be a thing because of this fact, or this is a fact that is in place. But then, again, like Battler noticed, you have to keep in mind the wordplay that could be involved too, because you never know if our definitions are going to be different about certain things. So you have to definitively get her to say certain things in red, and you have to anticipate that she's not going to think you're asking her to say certain things in red to try to like confirm something fully, because she's only gonna, now she's learning with that too, so she's adapting with it and trying to figure it out. I'm only gonna say a certain thing in this kind of way. I'm gonna say these extra things because I know it's true, and there's no way he's gonna be able to refute that, and also won't help with his current line of dialogue. Like, there's layers to why we're saying the things in the ways that we're doing it, and it's nice with it. I really like that as an element towards this. I feel like I'd probably enjoy it even more so in the VN. Just because of the ways I feel like it could be utilized more in a VN than a manga, perhaps. But, I don't know. How different is the red text implementation here than it is in the VN? Not just in terms of, like, the red text physically or whatever, of course. But I'm talking about, like, how it's utilized. Is it like pretty much like the same with the facts that she's confirming and not confirming?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. There are like a bit more back and forth, but it is pretty much just like Bito starts off. It's pretty much the same. Bito starts off with this is how we're going to start doing things. If I say it in red, it's the truth. And Battler at first thinks like, oh, this is really bad, but then he gets to realizing, oh, I can use this against her. I can make her declare things, and I can make her not declare things, and I can get context clues from that, which will help me build my own theories. So it plays out pretty much how it does here.
Okay.
I'm curious, is there like a logbook exactly for the red text, or no? That'd be interesting.
Is there a what?
A log?
Like a log for exactly the red text. Just
Like
you can
like
keep
in
that-
like in the VN,
Insane
like a log.
Fan definitely has,
Okay.
but I would not know where that is.
So that like the people can confirm. I like how in the screenshots you sent, like some of the laughing is in red text too.
Yeah.
I wait. Do I have that on the screen still? I think I do. Yeah. the hee 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 is just in red.
Which is
You know. Oh yeah. So you could definitely have fun with the red text, and then there's a lot of memes that you could bring out of that. The use of the red text as a concept for this kind of thing. So I love it in so many ways as like an element added to this. I think is what elevates this to peak in a certain way. It's amazing. It's an amazing element. I think. I think it's
shit
neat.
poster in me. It sees like you're incompetent frame, and it's like this is a perfect meme image. I can do something with this.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, also, Burn Castle and Lambda Delta had funny moments despite the secret tea party being a super serious thing. So, Lambda
This is no
Delta
paper.
was trying to think in terms of rock, paper, scissors. Whereas, like, one of them is, what was it? Beatrice is, like, hold on, I'm trying to
All
find
I
it.
know is that she was super paper.
Yes,
Super paper.
yeah. So she's like, if I'm paper, Beato is rock, and Burn is scissors. So Burn scissors may be my paper, but if I had super paper, way tougher than normal paper, I could beat scissors. So that's it. I'm super paper, and then she strikes like a
My
pose.
favorite part about all of those scenes is just barely. You can see in one panel in the glass pane that they're talking to is Battler curled up naked in chains on his side.
Yeah,
And
just
that's
looking out the
who they're
window of him like
talking
that.
to.
They're just like, all right, this is our hero. Oh fuck, we're cooked.
That's who they're like explaining their master plan to, and I'm like, holy shit, I would not be able to do that with a straight face.
Dude.
Meanwhile, Burncastle's like super serious face mode, trying to be like, do not surrender to Beatrice. I will help you again. I'll do what I can. Fight on, meow. Like just trying to get like a little cute pose. And then she immediately is like, oh god, that was embarrassing. Anyways, good luck, Battler. as he's just in the fetal position, naked.
Really in the fetal
So
position.
you're translated it as Mew?
They translate as mew like MEWEHHEH.
Because what she said is Nippa. Rika's little catchphrase. Nippa.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming they've localized that.
Nippa.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get a screen cap of it, but it's hard because I don't have I have my phone and then I have to take a picture of it and it's a whole thing.
Shall I stall while you find that?
I mean, I have it. I just took the
Okay,
photo. I
well,
just have to
shit.
send it in the group chat thing. Let me just send that. Okay, well, say whatever you're gonna say, Shadow, because I also have to drag it onto screen if I want to show the stream.
So I got a couple memes here.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, so when's the Beatrice and Battler podcast? First of all,
I would hate listening to that, actually. That sounds horrible.
why? Nah, this is the greatest idea ever. Okay.
Wow.
Why are you a hater?
I
need
love being a hater.
I need the Beatrice Joe Rogan experience here. Okay.
Yeah, the
Oh,
interview would have
good lord.
Okay. Let me put this on the screen.
That's the thing,
so-
is Battler would be, like, the worst podcast anchor to listen to. Literally insufferable.
Alrighty then.
I can ever get this image to show. Here you go. This is how it is in my version. There's the fight on Mew. I
think I might have already deleted the volume, otherwise I would pull it up.
She's
The
supposed to say Nippa! I posted a screenshot of it.
this is the version yours. Minipa. There you go. There you go. There's your comparison of the versions. So if you want the Nippa cut, then you got to read from your local library.
Nippa version.
Or read the visual novel, because it's Nippa in the Manga Gamer translation.
Well,
Oh my
that's
God.
also 150 hours. Which some people might want to do. I could do it. I'm playing Spirit Color.
Listen,
300
yeah, I was gonna
hours,
say
it's
if you
not
can read Spirit Caller, if you can play Spirit Caller, you can read Umineko.
I'm not even done yet. There's a problem.
You won't be done with Umineko either. Good luck. Okay, so what else do we got? So all right, so we had the bonus memes with the secret tea party. We're set up for the next loop, I'm assuming, and I'm assuming episode 3 begins the next loop. Probably. It is going to be interesting that the next episode is called The Banquet of the Golden Witch, when we had several references to dinner stuff in this one. We had... also, wait, I want to bring up, too. So, it's the door to the chapel, where the whole Halloween feast thing was set up, with all the dead bodies. It says, Happy Halloween to Maria. But also, the crest on the door... The, like, pentacle, whatever it is on the door, was, like, the Thanksgiving dinner sun one or something like that. And I'm like, we're incorporating several different holidays here with this. We got Halloween going, we got Thanksgiving, like, what?
If you're Canadian, it's on the same month, so it makes sense.
Yeah, obviously, Ryukishi is Canadian, so, you know, we
No,
obviously...
Beatrice is Canadian.
Obviously, Beatrice is
That would
she's
explain
going-
so many things.
Exactly.
That's where all the witches are. We know that. Okay, so that makes sense.
And the Frenchies. Can't forget them.
You know, all of this could have been solved if they just went to Tim Hortons. I mean, they would have been able to figure it all out.
Well, and my assumption would be that when they're referring to Thanksgiving, they're not referring to the holiday Thanksgiving, which is based in like colonizer America. They're basing it on like the actual act of giving thanks that would have been present at the time that those pentacles would have been like common religious rites.
Do they say Thanksgiving?
They do. In my
They literally
version,
say
they
capitalized
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. All one word.
I'm trying to find the specific page on my end, but yes, they do say Thanksgiving one word in my version too. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, like they're referring to the holiday.
Because Maria explains the pentacle. Maybe it was towards before the fight with Cannon, or maybe it was after the fight with Cannon.
I remember that there was a whole section about, I think it was after the fight. I remember there was a whole section about her talking about the history of Halloween and stuff, but...
Yeah, that we had all that last time. Oh, here we go. Huge side pan the Chample. Bang has to notice. Does he ask Maria about it? Here it is. Oh, wait. Is this? No, she's not explaining it yet. Hold on, I'm looking. It's just Maria saying, I'm not going to interfere. Then they find the other door. This door has the pentacle of the moon. The ability to open any door. So it must have been before that one. When they find the pentacle of the sun. When does Maria explain that one? The whole Beatrice stuff. I'm looking respectfully for it.
Like, look now, I'm just saying this podcast idea is wonderful, okay? You don't see the vision.
Oh, yeah, okay, I remember, because they were discussing how the door was open. Okay, the pentacle is designed to help... Okay, wait, hold on. It's the seventh pentacle of the sun. The pentacle is designed to help you escape from physical or mental fetters. The Hebrew written inside the circle says, Thou hast loosed my bonds, I will offer to thee the sacrifice of thanksgiving, one word, and will call upon the name of the Lord. Oh, okay. Well, if it's a Hebrew thing, then that would have been probably before. So it's not a... So, okay, and then George says, sacrifice of thanksgiving. You're saying your parents were killed for the sake of the stupid magic circle? And then they specifically notice after saying Thanksgiving, they look at the Happy Halloween for Maria thing. I don't know. I just thought that was weird that we had Happy Halloween written, and then we're also mentioning Thanksgiving, and I have to think...
Yeah, that feels like a...
I think that's a translation.
That feels like either a translation or just a writing error. Because I don't remember Thanksgiving in the VN.
Maybe you're just a fake fan. Maybe you're just a fake fan.
Maybe.
Maybe you just don't know anything about Umineko. Name 5 things about Umineko.
That feels like that's. I mean, like, I don't want to.
Is it? Oh, I mean, how'd they write it in your version that you read?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Wow, fake
I'm
fans.
just trying to think, because like that sounds like a weird thing to mess up on localization, but at the same time, that sounds like an American mistake, you know?
Well,
American mistake.
Well,
because
so
Thanksgiving is an American thing.
It's an American thing.
Well, yeah, but they're saying it was like Hebrew written words within the circus. It might not be, a reference to Thanksgiving and the holiday that we know, but it's definitely still going to be in our minds as that.
Yeah.
I think.
So I guess maybe they were looking for a different word for the time of Halloween, and they used Thanksgiving.
Well, yeah, because that's what happens. What I genuinely don't remember the pagan holiday that happens. It's not freaking emo. But like it's that time where you literally like give thank, like that's what it is that you are thanking the planet for a bountiful harvest as you go into the freeze of winter. Is that what it is?
The festival on November 1st, marking the harvest season.
So I literally think that it's supposed to be the act of giving thanks.
Just kind of like it is in Canada here.
Because, like, that's what... Now, they're talking about Hebrew, so that wouldn't necessarily make sense. But it lines up at least with, like, the timeline of the 8 holidays that pagans observe. Which is, that would be the fall harvest. When you're blessing all the food before you go into winter.
Yeah.
Okay, well, whatever this is, okay, I understand that it, I just remembered reading that and I was like, what is going on with the different holidays? But it's probably more so just a religious reference thing and it's not related to the American holiday thing or whatever, so, okay. I just wanted to bring it up as a thing that I noticed. Okay, so
we'll
what else?
Stop noticing things.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah, sorry. I gotta stop being Mattler. I'm not supposed to...
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to question anything, okay? I'm supposed to just accept everything Beatrice says, especially if she says it in red, okay? Just take it for what it is.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
It's not time for me. The red text is
how do you define red, Beatrice? How do you define red?
How do you define the truth?
Exactly. True.
Define red text.
We are losing our minds here. Okay, so we're done with this loop. This loop was supernatural as all hell to like contrast the first one where it was more so just things are happening. Maybe there might be a supernatural thing, but nothing's really shown. This one, we had Beatrice be shown as an actual character earlier on. And then we, like, pretty much never see Beatrice again once things kick off, except for, like, the one fight that she had against Canada, which may or may not have actually happened like that.
Who knows?
And then they show up towards the end in the, like, confrontation with Battler to, like, say surrender, and then he does, and then we have the whole sequence of events that happened afterwards. So, a lot happened, and they tried to have a whole sequence as well with Maria and Rosa being like, mom, the evil mama and the good mama, you're all the same. You're all just one mama. We all just have one mama, and I'm just the one Maria and whatever. And
I'm so confused by Rosa's motivations in any of what she does. Her character does not make any sense to me.
It's one of those things where, like, we've seen her be abusive to Maria, but she does show signs of really caring for her at times. So it's one of those things where it's like she does in a certain way, but then she like doesn't know what she wants in certain times. And Maria's just there like, I just want to have good relations with my mother, but
Maria's
she goes
literally
crazy sometimes.
9. Like.
Yeah. Like, I feel bad for Maria, but like then also she goes into the sicko "you're all gonna die" mode, and I hope you all die mode. And honestly, I don't blame her for thinking that too with some of these people, but like.
So the ending, the ending part with her and Maria running away from the goats also got slowed down a fair amount. Not a fair amount, but like just it just got shortened. So like. Rosa sent Battler off because Battler, they had gotten to that big argument, and she's like, well, how do I know you're even Battler? So he ran off to just go drink himself,
Be
drunk
mopey.
until the boat came. Obviously, the boat didn't come. But Rosa realizes something's not right. We need to try and get out of here. But first off, I'm going to get some gold. So they go over to the chapel and get the gold. And then they start leaving. And they are starting to be chased. So she has a arm on the gold and an arm on the shotgun. And so I think she eventually holsters the gold on her shoulder and in her bag, and then so she's able to actually hold the shotgun and fire with it, because you have to have you really need two hands for it, especially if you want to reload it. And they're running, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna be a better person after this. I've got gold. That's gonna be 10 million yen at least. That'll get me and Maria by. I'll be able to, get my company out of the way, and we'll be able to live after this. I've got a shotgun. I'll be able to defend us until the boat comes. At the very least, we can just, wade out into the water and nothing will get us or something. And they're running, and she's like, Maria trips. She trips.
Yeah, she trips.
And then
She
also
twists her ankle or something.
Yeah,
She
she
did,
twists
yeah.
her ankle, and she's like,
So that we're
I
fucked.
can't move.
All right, Maria, go on without me. I just remembered I got something to do, so
Maria?
you keep going.
And Maria immediately sees through it. She's like, no, I want to be with you. And Rosa's just immediately hit with, I am the worst person on earth.
Yeah, you fucking are.
And she's like, I have spent, we were slowed down running away because I had to go get the gold, and then I had to run with the gold, and then I had to make sure I had the shotgun, and I was worried about all of that, and that slowed us down considerably, instead of just holding Maria's hand and running with her. And she's like,
Yep.
okay. We're gonna make our final stand.
The one thing I just remember that scene. They're running from she's shooting the goat demon things and then giving the gun to Maria and saying, reload it.
Reload!
Yeah.
That was wild!
What do you mean you're giving the 9-year-old the gun to reload? I understand she did it because she wanted to start hitting the things, but what do you do? How does Maria know how to reload this thing? What do you mean? What is going on?
But that occult research has quite a big crossover with the Second Amendment, alright? That's all I can say.
What?
They're in Japan!
I was like, how? Guns are super rare there already. Okay, I get that they're rich, but it was rare for them to have that gun there still. But what do you mean Maria knows how to reload the gun too? What are you talking? And also, I was thinking, I was thinking to myself earlier, I was like, do we actually have more ammo for this gun? Where are we keeping the ammo for it? I don't even know. We don't even see her physically reload the gun. It just...
Yeah, that's another thing in the end where she's
mama.
like, I am running out of ammo. I've only got a few shots left, and there's a lot more of those things than I have bullets for. And
Yep.
it's a lot more of her calculating her moves and stuff, and then coming to regret, I did all of these things that slowed us down when Maria was the only thing that mattered. And then they get eaten.
Well, yeah, and then Rosa is forced to eat many things, and but the goat things are just eating all of them to take them to the Golden Land or whatever. Kinzo's getting devoured. That was a very graphic scene, but he sounded like he was ready for it. He was excited for it. He was like, "Finally, Beatrice, you're here, Beatrice!" And so we don't.
If you ask me.
What?
We have a 9-1 if you ask me.
Oh my god.
So
Consume me, Beatrice.
a lot of interesting things. A lot of interesting things happened in this loop. A lot of very interesting things. A lot of interesting developments. shit's getting weird. Shit's getting more interesting with the text. It's getting weird in terms of like all the supernatural things being directly involved with the story now. This one turned it up a lot. I think I mentioned this earlier, but I do think it's funny that the next one's called Banquet when we had several, like, we had the like Halloween feast thing set up here.
Have you
Like,
seen Battler? Man is skin bones. He needs some food.
He needs something,
He really
man.
does. He does.
I remember I had mentioned earlier about like a frame where like Battler has this fork, but there's nothing on it. He can't fool us.
Yep.
I was in my server and I was like, dude, I think this guy has an eating disorder. Like, I haven't seen him eat anything in the manga. And then I shit you not, 2 pages later, they were sitting there eating the rations. And in order to prove myself, I took a screenshot of him having nothing on his fork.
Yeah,
To
you're
be
like,
like, I told you, he's not eating anything.
This dude, his ass is not
I'm playing
eating.
the spoiler zone.
His ass is not eating.
Also, that screenshot makes it look like he's just like holding the fork up on his index finger, like it's just like glued to it. Like, look at that.
Well, I'm trying to save it and then show it on the stream.
Like, this is some. this is the true witch magic, okay?
Look at this shit.
The true witch magic. How the fuck is this man alive?
Bro, his ass is not eating. What are you talking about?
Like, man
What are you
is
doing?
is looking worse than me on the food department. That's saying a lot.
Bro has
Alright.
never consumed a carb in his life.
That's the trick to immortality.
Okay, so there was also not a lot of in this volume, at least on my version of it, they didn't have a lot of like bonus comics from the artists or whatever at the end, so we didn't have a lot of that. But we did have the afterword from Ryukishi, so let me read that here.
Here we go.
Okay, about Umineko When They Cry, episode 2, Turn of the Golden Witch. Are you still a detective? Ryukishi, creator and supervisor. Hello, I am Ryukishi07. An eerie letter from Beatrice delivered to an island that should only hold 18. This was the conclusion to episode 1 of Umineko When They Cry. However, at that point, no one had any reason to believe that there was really a witch named Beatrice. Beatrice, in quotes, was nothing more than an alias used by one of the 18 people on the island. It is the natural assumption. However, the witch's game had already begun. The game to convince Battler that witches exist and had already begun unbeknownst to him. Beatrice sent her letter, but no one believed in Beatrice. Battler triumphed that her failure to appear was proof that she was not real. I see. Then surely you do not doubt your eyes any longer, for I have appeared for all to see. This was the beginning of episode 2. You no longer doubt that witch's existence.
Is that from the Bible?
Maybe, I don't know. Probably. You no longer doubt the witch's existence now that you've seen her as the mastermind behind these terrible crimes, complete with mocking laughter, do you? If the human's turn is not to believe in a witch, then this story is the witch's turn, in which she brazenly appears for herself. Thus, the subtitle for this episode, Turn of the Golden Witch. What did you think? Have you already given up in despair? We have seen many exhibitions of magic from the Golden Witch in this episode, all of them totally impossible to explain as the work of man. Are you still a detective? Or have you surrendered and sunk to your knees to become the witch's furniture? Detectives, I urge you to uphold your logic and explain the following episode with human actions as well. The witch eagerly awaits your descent into her control. If you are already the witch's furniture, how are you enjoying your time of servitude? It is very easy to stop thinking. It is very easy to stop thinking, but the witch finds that very boring. Do you think you might find your way back to your feet to be a detective again? Assuming you have the willpower, of course. Assuming you have the willpower. Until we meet again in the next episode. So he's still just torturing us. He's just laughing at us. He's laughing. Beatrice is making Rosa eat her entire family and her daughter's head, and you're laughing. You're laughing at him.
So was Battler.
Battler's just skin and bones, not eating shit, and he's naked.
He's
You're
not
laughing.
eating shit, man.
You're laughing at us.
So about that being possibly a Bible quote, the manga does quote the Bible at some points. And I know that specifically because I read the manga in middle school, and I sent a quote to my mom, and she dragged me and pulled out the Bible.
No way!
This is required reading for Umineko, okay? Get reading, get studying.
She was like, oh, I know that quote. Let me find it. And she like dragged me into another room, and she was like sifting through. She's like, here it is.
Here you go. This will help out with your reading.
That,
you know.
It just sounded like
so
what?
What's the context for this? What were you reading it from?
Oh my god.
Oh,
It
you
just
know,
sounded
he's
like-
surrendering and naked and in chains.
This was a
In
later
my
part,
head,
but
what God would have said to Moses at the top of whatever fucking mountain he was stoned on? Sinai? Thank you. My mom just shouted the answer at me because I had my door open.
it comes full circle.
What?
It comes full circle.
Okay, all right. She pulling out the Bible? She
I had to
handing you the
let my
Bible?
cat out, so I had my door open. So she could hear me.
This is like a Jeopardy thing now, okay?
You wouldn't have responded if my door was closed.
Amazing. Okay, so what do we think is going to happen in the next development? What do we want to happen in the next loop? What are we hoping for? I kind of hope we continue the trend of like, you know, maybe Ava being the next person in charge, or maybe Kyrie, because Kyrie hasn't
maybe
lived
Rudolph.
past the
Who
first day
knows?
yet, right? Yeah, maybe Rudolph will be the mother in charge next loop. You know, you never know.
With the gun.
With the gun, yeah.
I don't know what to do. Like everyone else here.
This loop also had a lot of like romance ties directly because it was focusing on the Shannon and Canon love stories with George and Jessica. So I wonder if the next one, now that we've explored all that already, if we're going to be exploring maybe the adult side of their things more, because it seemed like it was more so this was still, I mean, there's a couple things, mostly Rose's background thing, because then Rose ended up being a big character later on, but maybe we'll dig deeper into like Krause's stuff, or
Yeah, can we go over the fact that which fucking one is Balor's dad?
Rudolph, right?
The fact that he
Rudolph.
wasn't sharing his financial struggles with his financial advisor.
Yeah, well, that happens. It happens.
Like not just his wife, but literally his financial advisor, who he married because they worked together and she helped him out on so many occasions.
Listen.
But nah, I mean, nah, don't need to, I guess.
Just saying, okay? Marry someone who can help you evade taxes.
Listen, I'm just gonna say, okay, if you're doing shady shit like Rudolph definitely is, and you're doing shady shit involving finances, you probably don't want to marry the person that's gonna be your financer. I don't know, but you
Just
know,
you.
I don't know. Maybe you don't want to do that, but whatever. But we'll probably find out more about that story later. So, what's going to happen in the next episode? Banquet of the Golden Witch, which again, we will also have to, it's one of those other things where we have to read like volumes 1 to technically 3, but it's only like partially, I might have said chapter, I meant volumes. Volumes 1 to technically 3, but it's only like a few chapters of 3. 3 is split across next week and then the week after. The chapters are already specified on our schedule thing, which I'm going to show on screen right now for you viewers at home, so you can see if you want to catch up with us and get in on the discussion, or like at very least get caught up on the reading so that you can understand what the hell we're talking about, Jesse, you know. So we're going to be reading next week. We're going to be starting it, and wait, is this too big? This is too big. Okay, there we go. Why did it get bigger? Okay, so we're going to be reading volumes 1 to 3, and there's an asterisk with it. So there's going to be chapters 1 to 12 of episode 3, Banquet of the Golden Witch. So read up to chapter 12 and then stop. Do not, or I'm up to and including chapter 12. Do not read chapter 13. Do not read chapter 13. We're going to be stopping at chapter
You can't.
after chapter 12. And then once we're done with that, then we don't have to worry about those overlapping volumes anymore. It's just going to be up to like, because I think episode 4, it's just 2 volumes each week. So volumes 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. Well, I'll double check to make sure that there's no weird overlap with those either, but I'm pretty sure that's all fine with that. So, all right. And that is Umineko for this week. So we'll be meeting next week to begin episode 3. Now, Ari, did you say next week is when you're not going to be here, or?
Yeah, next week I will be flying out to Otakon.
Oh my god. How insane. Are you, like, excited to see how we're going to lose our minds at the beginning of the next episode, or?
I'm mad because I really like episode 3, and there's spoiler, new things. Wow,
Oh
a manga introducing new things. But
can you imagine new things? Holy shit.
It'll be interesting to see what y'all think of it.
Listen, you'll have to call in from Otakon, okay, live on the scene. Ask random people about Umineko episode 3 specifically, you know?
Yeah, do interviews for Chop's YouTube.
All right.
One of you needs to download the cackle sound since I won't be there to play it. So.
Well,
no, I think we're good.
No, put the cackle sound in, like, the chat somewhere. We might have some room in the soundboard, okay? We might have some room, okay?
Make it I was gonna be like, make it a redeem, but that means that you'd have the FBI open up as an option during book club if we wanted to hear it. And I was like, no.
I feel like when we're done with this, we should add the cackle to the Twitch soundboard.
Yeah.
Oh, the Twitch soundboard, definitely. We can add that to the Twitch soundboard. Because now we got the Twitch soundboards, we're adding new things to it, and we got all those sound effects. Which, by the way, I remembered to turn that off. Nobody did it, but I remembered to turn those off for the stream, okay?
But you know what you can't turn off, though?
To stay hydrated? Okay,
Yep.
I hate you. I mean, I actually can physically turn it off. You can't stop me from... Oh, God, stop, please.
Hydrate!
Stop, please, stop doing the stay hydrated.
Did you notice, by the way, that the stay hydrates do not show up in chat?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's kind of cringe, but...
I mean, you can't do anything about that because that redeem is just literally on the Twitch redeem, and the thing that I show on thing is a Stream Elements thing, and it can't see some of those things. It can't see their... That's why the sound alert thing, it gives me the option to show it in the chat thing or not for somebody triggering it. But if I do, I'm just seeing it twice in the actual chat. Up on the stream thing. I mean, I can look into a way to try to add it onto there, but I don't know if I want to. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out. All right, and that's Umineko, When They Cry, Episode 2, Turn of the Golden Witch. We are all done for this week. Congrats, everybody. And we're done with the episode, and we will be back next week for Episode 3, Banquet of the Golden Witch. So get ready for the meal, whatever that's going to be.
And maybe
sure-
eat something for once.
I hope that it'll be edible!
Let's all enjoy Maria's head. Let's eat Maria's head. It'll be delicious, okay? All right. Bye, everybody. Bye, stream. Bye, stream.
Yeah, never mind.
Wait, do you have something, Shadow?
I was gonna find the goddamn One Piece. I swear to God, they haven't tried yet.
What about the One Piece?
We're gonna try and find it.
Why are they trying?
I don't think
the
Rattler-
gold. Yeah, no, we didn't even mention a lot of it because they don't even care. They like think about it as like whenever they think about it, they're just like, oh, very clearly they're just trying to find the location of the gold to steal it from us. So we're just not going to do it. So they just don't even think about it. So I don't know if we're ever going to start looking for that until the end.
It literally, the first letter to them is solve the riddle of the epitaph and none of this will happen.
I
He's
swear
like,
to God.
yeah, we know what you're trying to. We know what you're trying to do. We're not dealing with it. But then they're also just like, but we see a couple pieces of gold here, so obviously they know where it is already, and they're just. But that's not true. There's like, you can get. They could have just gotten those bars of gold as an investment towards this little grift that they're doing to try to find the rest of it. I mean, there's a whole bunch of ways to do it. Like,
I'll lose my mind.
I swear to God, if it turns out the gold is just a bunch of things that gaslight you, that distract you from the interest. Some handy chests over here.
I'm gonna read Doro Hidoro to calm down.
Oh, good luck with that. We believe in you. All right.
Have fun, Naya.
Thank you so much, everybody. Goodbye, stream. Goodbye, stream.
Bye, stream.
Goodbye, stream.